It is my pleasure to introduce Paul Herzog. Paul is the Associate Director of Agile Project Management at Bitovi, with over a decade of consulting experience in software, product ownership, project management, and quality assurance leadership. His career in consulting and industry has taken him through projects in a wide variety of domains, from telecom to dental scanners to slot machines. That is indeed a wide variety of domains. Away from work, Paul is a soccer referee and a volunteer instructor and halftime announcer for the Lake Zurich High School marching band.
I don't quite have your pipes,
Paul,
my friend.
take it away.
I can do a little bit of announcing here and there. Sound very professional. Hope to sound professional here today after seeing a bunch of very technical, very strong technical work that we do here at Bitovi on that side of things. We're going to totally take a different direction here and talk about probably what is the newest service offering at Bitovi and the way that we work. I'm the Director of Agile Project Management, APM, and we have a team of TPOs, and I wanted to talk to you about exactly what the heck are these acronyms anyway. So the dictionary definitions of things, TPO is a technical product owner in how we define it. And it's an important distinction to make, the T for technical. Most of the time in normal Scrum lingo and how groups like the Scrum Alliance would define a product owner, it's somebody from the business domain side of things that moves over into a Scrum team to help a engineering team figure out the priority and the breakdown of the work to focus on business value. Our view of it at Bitovi tends to be far more from a technical side, both delivery planning and working closer with software architects and a lot of the other team members that we provide to clients to understand more than just the business value, but also all the technical dependencies of things that are going on. Now, the TPOs live in the Agile project management space, and each of these three sets of words don't really align with each other. Agility is not about technical excellence, although it's one of the principles is that teams maintain technical excellence. I'm sure all of us have lived situations where they're not necessarily aligned at all at clients that teams think of Agile as being a cultural thing rather than a technical thing. Project is different than product, obviously, in terms of how we have a mindset and how we deliver. And managing something is certainly different than owning it. So the reason I say all of this is that sometimes it's a little bit unclear in the short term and long term what we're doing. This is some of the root cause of why, and I think in 2023 at Bitovi, one of the things we're looking to do is to get better at understanding ourselves and to get better at marketing and selling and working with all the rest of the Bitovians to understand exactly what the TPOs do. So we think about it in one of three ways, some of which is right now, some of which is a vision for the future. There's a product focus, obviously, if the role is a technical product owner, that this is somebody who can help write and maintain and define the backlog. So how do initiatives, epics, user stories, acceptance criteria, putting all of that in place and making sure that it is written in a way that both focuses on business value as well as allowing the engineering teams to know exactly what they need to work on in the right level of detail. That can also be from a project perspective. One of my core beliefs with all of this is that if you have a TPO on your team, that person probably can and should be acting as the Scrum Master for that team, especially if you're working from a set of requirements or a client has a business analyst that is already owning a lot of the product side of things. So this role is a lot more about being a Scrum Master and doing status reporting and tracking budget to actuals and doing delivery planning and things like that. In a consulting environment, I also think it's really important for the TPO to be kind of in a position as a buffer, where we think of the client a lot of times. We're sort of the first point of engaging with clients in ways of saying, yeah, I'm asking the team to change something or do something, and we're the first person usually to push back and to ask why at that detailed level that's often different than the visibility that like the principles that we have with clients work. That client relationship also tends to be important to the TPOs, where we're in a position to do risk escalation and management and to act as a trusted advisor to the client, especially if we're not working on huge projects that have a very day-to-day engaged principal, where the TPO sort of acts in that role as a principal by proxy, and builds the relationship, identifies issues that the team is having in delivering to meet the client needs, and probably most important for Bitovi's growth, to talk about what other ways that we can help them. You know, if we're in there doing a development project, but we also see that they have a problem with pipelines or alerts or any of that kind of stuff, we can introduce them to Karam, and we can introduce them to Mick to talk about DevOps. You know, we can also help you with that. We can also help you with backend transformation for new data warehouses. We can help you with all kinds of things beyond just the first thing that you're engaging us on. So TPO should always be on the lookout for that kind of thing. One of the core principles that I have coming in my background in product management is Joe Jackson. If you don't know Joe Jackson, you should know Joe Jackson. Fantastic musician who's still kicking after 40 years of doing this. And it's important for us to be able to communicate with the client that, you know, you can't get what you want until you know what you want. A lot of times clients come to us because they have a transformational vision that says that 3 or 5 years from now, they want to have an application or a suite of applications that allows them to do their business in another way. But what's missing in their view, and where we can really help them as consultants and as specifically as product people in the APM group, is to help them identify what are points B, C, D, E, F, G, et cetera, all along the way. And what does the application look like, and what does their business look like as they're making that transformation along the way? One of the biggest hangups in Agile is the misguided belief that we can just start and build some prototypes and kind of not have a North Star and a vision as to where we're going, and expect to naturally migrate along the way. If I want to drive to Los Angeles tomorrow, it certainly helps me to have a map rather than just to kind of follow the sun and understand that I'm going west and maybe I'll eventually get there. The general development lifecycle, all of you are very familiar with this, but I wanted to emphasize that it's something that is part of the TPO's domain all along the way. Even on things that don't necessarily play into thinking that we're only having a couple developers or it's a DevOps project. Mick was kind enough to share a link yesterday with me that talked about Puppet's State of DevOps 2023. And the biggest gap they saw in that industry and that technology is a lack of a product mindset. So being able to bring that to everything, starting with elaboration and setting that end vision as to where we want to go and how we want to get there. From there, we're breaking that backlog down into work items that are properly sized and can be tackled by a developer or a buddy developer pair, to be able to work through all of this and to assist with ranking them in a priority that handles both technical dependencies as well as gives us the biggest bang for the buck as to the business value we need to develop next. From there is sort of where we shift from the product mindset into project, and Scrum Mastering along the way with development and testing and through release. One thing I haven't talked about yet, as the topic of the webinar we did yesterday, is about how all of this also connects in the design domain. I very much view the TPO team and design as sort of the two sides of the product coin. So each of these stages of a software product has a connection. You know, design plays a part, TPO plays a part at each piece along the way. One other thing to think about from True Detective's immortal icon Rust Cole is that software delivery, to paraphrase, software delivery is a flat circle, just like time is a flat circle. And one of the places that we play as TPOs is once we elaborate something and once we define a vision as to what we need and what we want, we want to make sure that the testing is happening and that things go such that we validate that what we build is actually what the stakeholders expect and what their end users need to grow their business. So the TPO plays an important proxy role with testing and with the product side of the business to deliver all of that and to make sure that those checks are happening. So internally at Bitovi, then, as this is a relatively new role, almost everybody on the TPO team has been with the company a year or less. To help clients understand what they want, we also can't get what we want as an APM group until we know what we want. So we're all working to standardize the skills and the training that we want to have and how to define and to sell these methods. How TPOs can be included in different types of Bitovi projects. As I mentioned, I think there's a place for us everywhere, even if it's just as simple as there's 2 or 3 developers and nobody on the team really wants to be the Scrum Master because we all have a lot of work to do just to develop something. So let's block out a chunk of time for somebody to help execute the project and to communicate the kinds of status things that clients need to have communicated. We want to streamline Scrum methods and ceremonies and reporting and metrics. If you just Google Scrum metrics or Scrum, you're going to find a million different sources of information. And part of my role is to hopefully help us define the Bitovi way that works with how we think about planning in Jira and some of the customizations and add-ons to Atlassian that we've done for Yum to allow us to do better reporting and better capacity planning and to identify long poles and schedules and technical dependencies and things like that. So we're working to build all of that out and to get to a point where we can own all of this and make it easier for us to sell these services and to grow and to let clients know that there's a wide variety of things that we can do for them in a way that makes sense.